God bless you, Love and Faith family. I pray that everyone is well. Well, listen, it is time to leave our monthly mark. As you know, the Lord gave me instructions at the top of the year that we are to leave a monthly mark on different areas in our community that we will donate our time, our money, and our attentions to each month. And there'll be a different cause each month. So this particular month, we're going to partner with our neighbors across the street who we already are in a partnership with, Hartsville Elementary School. And we're going to help restock their necessities pantry. So we're going to donate toiletry items to their pantry. Toothbrushes, deodorant, underwear, sanitary napkins, you name it. So if you're going to buy it for you, buy a couple extra and you can donate the others to this cause. All right? Here's how this is going to work, family. On Sunday mornings from 10 to 11, you can drop your donations off at the church in the lobby, or if you just want to give monetarily, you can do it by way of Cash App or text. And just use the category MM or monthly mark. The Lord said we're to leave an imprint of generosity upon this world and our community every month. So let's come together. It's time to do it, family. Let's leave our imprint. God bless you, and thank you in advance.
Glory. Hallelujah. Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy Monday to everybody. Welcome to Fresh Word on the Front Porch. I'm not on the front porch. I know weather is changing, but we weren't able to stay out there today. So I had to come back on in. But we're going to figure it out, and I'll be back on the porch in no time, chilling and relaxing. We may do a little after parlay out there after tonight, if we have the time. Well, listen, I need you to do something for me and hit that share button. Make sure that share button, you hit it and you share with as many people as possible. I've seen some men logging on. I want to make sure all of our LFCC men are on. We need to hear this tonight. We need all women to be a part of this tonight. Everybody, the entire family, the entire household. We are super glad to be able to donate this month to the topic of women's history and women's issues. I believe that we are mandated by God to do away with racism, sexism, and classism. And so it is our goal and our job to make sure that this month that we promote as much as we can for change in our system. All right. Am I still echoing? Or am I good? Good? No? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Let me see that share button above your name. I want to say hello to Tamara Talley. Hello to Mother Pride. Mother Pride's going to be on with us next Monday, her and some other LFCC amazing women. Hello, Nene. How are you, dear heart? And I hope I pronounce it correctly. Is it Lillette Sale? Hello, how are you? Bishop Jeff Chambers is on. Katrina Thomas is on. Tanisha Washington. Good to see you. If it's your first time, and Muriel Van, good to see you. Julia, good to see you on tonight. All right. Listen, if you are just watching, say something in the comments. Let us interact with you. We'd love to interact with you. Well, we're about to get started in a few moments, but we're going to shoot to this commercial very quickly about this month's monthly mark.
God bless you, Love and Faith family. I pray that everyone is well. Well, listen, it is time to leave our monthly mark. As you know, the Lord gave me instructions at the top of the year that we are to leave a monthly mark on different areas in our community that we will donate our time, our money, and our attentions to each month. And there'll be a different cause each month. So this particular month, we're going to partner with our neighbors across the street who we already are in a partnership with, Hartsfield Elementary School. And we're going to help restock their necessities pantry. So we're going to donate toiletry items to their pantry, toothbrushes, deodorant, underwear, sanitary napkins, you name it. So if you're going to buy it for you, buy a couple extra, and you can donate the others to this cause. All right. Here's how this is going to work, fam. On Sunday mornings from 10 to 11, you can drop your donations off at the church in the lobby. Or if you just want to give monetarily, you can do it by way of Cash App or text and just use the category MM or monthly mark. The Lord said we're to leave an imprint of generosity upon this world and our community every month. So let's come together. It's time to do it, fam. Let's leave our imprint. God bless you and thank you in advance.
All right. We are super, super dope excited about the monthly mark and for March. And we are ready. Thank you for those that have already donated and those that are still bringing supplies. We're looking forward to taking this over to them and for them having an overflow of what they need over at Hartsfield Elementary School. All right. So I see Buford Mannion is on. All right. Where's Cedric? Where's Wayne? Where's Antonio? I want to see you. I want to see you tonight. Well, I want to take time and introduce our guest tonight and give you just a little history of who they are, and then we'll bring them on. Our first guest is a friend of our ministry. She's a sister to me, her and her husband. I just love the both of them. And she has been such a help during a really, really rough time for us and still stands to be that. But with over 30 years of financial banking experience, with a top 10 bank, JaNean Stubbs-Taylor is a dynamic force to be reckoned with, admired by colleagues and clients alike, known for her unrelenting tenacity, unapologetic integrity, and irrefutable consistency. JaNean thrives as a breath of fresh air in the world of finance. She's a Maryland native. Now they're living in Greenville, South Carolina. Yay, South Carolina. And she holds a bachelor degree in business management and a master's of science in strategic finance. I'm going to talk tonight. Right. Her thirst for knowledge and achievement has led her to pursue and master her accreditation as a certified financial education instructor. As a career banker, she is highly trained as a fair assessor of risk, reward, and opportunity. A visionary and entrepreneur in her own right, she is the CEO and managing member of J.S.Taylor Financial Consulting, LLC, and Threefold Transport, LLC. Her proven strategies and concepts birthed J.S.Taylor Financial Services and the Fruits of Finance, where she's a proud founder and CEO, as well as the owner of the Wear What You Declare financial apparel line. Notwithstanding her professional achievements, JaNean finds her greatest joy and fulfillment on the personal side of her life in her role as a loving wife to Michael and her best friend, who is her best friend and business and spiritual partner, and the supportive mother of her most treasured accomplishments to date, her three sons, Devin, Delroy, and Devon. Her impassioned servant spirit continues to guide her footsteps in her career and beyond on the path to fulfilling God's purpose for her life. That is our first guest tonight that you will meet in a moment, JaNean Stubbs-Taylor. Our second guest is known as to some as the navigator, known as to some as sis, bestie, brilliance, wisdom. She's also known simply as Lady T Mill. You just say T Mill and everybody automatically knows who you're talking about. Lady T Mill is a marketplace coach, consultant, and virtual trainer in the area of management, marketing, music, media, and production via her company, the It's Lady T Mill Agency. She is a content curator and strategist that has released multiple digital products while helping others create their own. She's co-owner of We Here Now Music Group, marketing director of VGN Bay Music Group. I hope I said that right. And coming April of this year, she will be officially launching Let's Get Virtual Institute. She's a blogger, a virtual operations director, and producer. And she has her certification in digital marketing and will be completing the Business of Music Essential program from NYU in May. I know personally, and we know at Love and Faith because she has helped us. I know personally that during this pandemic, she helped several ministries save their church and reinvent their way of worship during this time. And she has been vital to many bishops and many organizations, and she still is vital. She has been ahead of the time. And so I am glad to have her with us tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome JaNean Stubbs-Taylor and Lady T Mill Curtis. Woo-hoo-hoo. How y'all doing? I'm great. I'm great. It's good to have you on. I love you. I see you, Brandon. I see you, Elder Mathis. You're on. I see everybody. Sabrina Simmons. I see you. I see you. God bless you all. It's good to have you all on tonight. Joe Ingram Jr., good to have you on as well. Listen, here's how this topic of alpha female came up. Lady T Mill was on Facebook Live, and she just came on to talk about this topic. I don't even know that I knew that that was the topic, but it was my sis. She was on, so I hit it to see what she was saying. And there was a brokenness I heard, but also a strength I heard in her voice that I realized that this woman is powerful. She's a leader, but there were areas where she has to deal with things that I don't. She has to deal with labels that I wouldn't, and it really pricked my heart. And I realized this is something we need to talk about. This is something that we need to hear. And so uh, we said we would start with defining what is an alpha woman. So I'll let Lady T Bill start, and then I'll let JaNean. So what is an alpha woman?
I think the biggest thing, and thank you so much for having this conversation tonight.
Absolutely.
I think that it has been misdefined, right? And because it's been misdefined and it's misunderstood, there are a lot of characteristic traits that are not necessarily what an alpha female is that we get labeled by. An alpha female is usually one who has embraced her leadership ambitions and goals, but that doesn't mean that she's aggressive, right? An alpha female is someone who is extremely talented and creative, but that doesn't mean that she's arrogant or she doesn't know her place and things of that nature. Alpha females are usually highly motivated, self-confident to some degree in the areas in which they are to dominate and to be over. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't have, her struggles or things of that nature. And so for me, um, I think I was one who became an alpha female. I don't necessarily think I was born one, I was forged into one because of a need, right? And so, yeah, I'm grateful for this conversation so that we can dig into this.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. JaNean, what's an alpha? What's an alpha woman? Alpha female?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us this evening. And what an interesting yet relevant and very much so needed topic of conversation. So I thank you for leading and paving the way for T-Mail and I to have this conversation. So I'm just going to kind of compliment what T-Mail has already shared because I echo and concur with all of the above. But when you think about the alpha woman, I kind of want to put her in perspective. Um, Generally, the alpha woman, her presence precedes her, and many tend to be distracted by her presence when you think about an alpha woman, okay? However, she wasn't necessarily born with these alpha tendencies or these alpha genetics, okay? Yet the term alpha female is thrown around casually. But when you really study the science of the alpha woman, it is in her susceptibility, I think we talked about this, that really breeds her strengths, if you will. And that's the true foundation of who she is. While others may lack courage and direction in life, the alpha woman knows exactly what she wants, who she is, and she is completely unapologetic for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, and let me just say this. I see more people that are coming on. Hello, Champion Praiser. Uh, Saying hello from St. Louis. Hello, Rika. Hello, Kavandra. Uh, when Lady T. Mill said about aggressive, that most people think they're aggressive. Alpha women are aggressive. What is, and let me do this before I get into, for somebody that's looking for the regular Bible study night that needs some word, all of this is word related, but let me give you this. It is quoted in Galatians, there's no more Jew nor Gentile, male nor female, slave nor free. All of these systems were abolished because of Jesus Christ. So there's no more racism. There should be no more sexism. There should be no more classism. And so this conversation is for us to really dig into removing these things that we uphold, that the Bible specifically says Jesus is coming on this earth, dying for our sins, was to remove these systems. So that's what this conversation is about. And it is biblical in its nature without having to say a scripture, but I know some people need it. All right. And these are also two preaching women. I didn't say that in their intro, but they are actually ministers and elders. They preach too. So there's no shortage in the word in them. Why is it that an alpha male is looked at as a take charge leader, but an alpha female is looked at as an aggressive woman?
I think it goes back to what you said, that whole level of sexism. And I think it's culturally established because there are some cultures. The Spartans is probably one of my favorite cultures because of how they embraced women, right? It wasn't so much that the women were the warriors, but the women voice mattered. What they had to say mattered. They had everything from political views to how the country was ran when it was time to go to war strategies, and things of that nature. There are countless African cultures in our history where the women were leaders. So I think a lot of it has to do with culturally what society has deemed as good and bad. And it's just carried over for centuries and generations to the point that we are in the 21st century. We have our first woman vice president and we're still dealing with this level of sexism because it's automatic that we're aggressive because we're in your face and we hold you accountable, and they don't look at it as us being progressive minded. There's an expected goal that we have to get to, and we can't accept excuses. We can't accept people dropping the ball. It has to be done, and so a lot of times that's translated as aggressiveness. What do you think, JaNean?
I think you're absolutely correct, but I think when we think about the word aggressive, the tendency that really comes into play is control. So I think the two tends to be misconstrued sometimes. So let's define control for just a second. So when you think about the definition of control, you're thinking about the power to influence, authority, command comes to mind, dominion comes to mind, sway, jurisdiction, all of the above. Yet control is actually defined as an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And
Yep.
That's good.
Control is defined as an emotion, and researchers have found that alpha females have a high emotional intelligence. It's called a high EI. So what does that mean? We now have this awareness. So alpha women, let me say that again in case someone want to capture that. Researchers, okay, have found that alpha females, alpha women's, we have a high emotional intelligence, a high EI. So therefore, what is that telling us tonight? That we have this awareness that our emotions and our behaviors can impact people positively or negatively. Thus, we have the ability to do what? To acknowledge. We have the ability to appreciate and manage our own emotions. And at the same time, because of this high EI, we have the ability to also recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. But for the record, okay, don't confuse confidence with control. Our confidence is actually very contagious. So now you look at aggressive. She's aggressive. But take a couple steps back just for a second, because aggressiveness, control is an emotion. But oftentimes when we think about, is she aggressive, or if she's too aggressive, she must be far more assertive and far more progressive. Mm-hmm. So I look at it like this. Assertive, if you're going to say aggressive versus progressive, right? That's assertive in the pursuit of what motivates you as an alpha woman. You're just in pursuit, in control over what motivates you as an alpha woman. And an alpha woman, while there are several things that motivate me personally, I'm extremely motivated by my accomplishments. Now, I feel very confident that Team Mills probably feels the same way, which in terms may give the perception that I'm aggressive, right?
Right.
And truth be told, if you really understand the science of an alpha woman, I'm just obsessive in pursuit, and I embrace my challenges to make sure that I accomplish my goals.
Ooh, I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. I need everybody to type in the comment section, high EI. High EI. That is an amazing point. And you guys, when we were talking earlier about the difference between the label of aggressive, but what you really are is progressive, not aggressive. And I believe that calling it a woman in leadership or an alpha woman aggressive is a way for men to belittle women's intelligence. It is a way for a man in any type of setting to lord his authority over hers. And it is, in many cases, a subtle or blatant form of sexist bullying. Mm-hmm. By limiting how you can present, how passionate you can be about what you're doing, how accurate you normally are in what you're doing. And most men are not comfortable being in a room where the women are more intelligent than them. A lot of men are not. And I believe that label of aggressive or bossy that is put on alpha women, it is a demonic attack to belittle your power. And it is also designed to seed something in your spirit that kills your drive. If they can't stop you in that meeting, it's to seed something in you that sends you home with your head down so you won't do what you're called to do again. That's just my view on how demonic I think these small words and labels are over the lives of women who we need in our society. And the point about control, that why is it that if a man is in leadership, he's just a good leader? But if a woman is in leadership and can lead in all areas, she's a control freak, or she just wants to have control.
I think JaNean hit it. Like, women tend to have a natural way of either attracting or repelling people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the repel nature is a defense mechanism. If you really take the time to get to know most women who are defensive, it is from being hurt, it's from being mishandled, it's from being misunderstood. So there's always something that's there to get them to that point. And so because the flip of that is alpha females, people naturally are drawn to us. And that's one of the things that pushes us and forges us into alpha females who may not have been born as one. People naturally, are just drawn to us. People believe in our abilities sometimes when we don't. They'll see it, or they'll know past victories and automatically assume, oh, well, no, because you drove cross country, you can fly to the moon, it's fine. And so something in our mind will naturally click like, oh, well, okay, I guess I can fly to the moon. Let's find out what type of fuel does this take? What type of equipment do we need to put inside? It's just something that we do. And oftentimes that's viewed as control because it's not understood, right? It's like a creative being. A creative being has the ability to move beyond faith into vision. And most people who do not have that ability automatically looks at it as being a negative. So most people who really don't understand alpha females, they don't know that what we do isn't even who we are, right? We're not controlling at all. Those of us that are married absolutely have a head of the household that they fully submit to. They literally get up under his mission, right? They are fully submitted. Most alpha females, and this is why for those of us that are single, it's a hard time dating. Men cannot comprehend that we have to be on anywhere from 8 to 12 to 15 hours a day. So no, I don't want to plan the date. But then if we plan the date, we're controlling, right? So it's like, if we do and if we don't. Like, people really don't understand the meaning of words and really understand characteristic traits. And so everything is automatically deemed negative.
So wait a minute. You mean to tell me alpha women don't want to plan which restaurant we're going to?
Let's go back.
Let me say this. The average does not. The average through conversation, and this is where conversation is key. You'll know that I love seafood. You'll know that I love Italian food, but you also know that I'm a kickback girl and I can eat regular bar food. So whatever you plan, I'm okay with. You decide where we go eat. I'm okay with it. As long as it ain't no dive that we got to fight our way in and shoot our way out of, I'm good. Right?
So T-Bill, think about, first of all, you are just so spot on. You are spot on. And I agree with you. After making decisions throughout the business day, I don't want to always have to make decisions and plan at home. But Pastor, I want to go back to something that you said that I believe it was extremely profound. And I wrote down a note that just dropped in my spirit as you were speaking. You mentioned about men, and when men are in the presence and the company of an alpha woman, okay? oftentimes, so think about what I said her presence precedes her. So 9 times out of 10, you've already heard about us before we step in the room.
Right.
There's some perception that have been formed. However, 10 times out of 10, when we step in the room, we command the atmosphere.
This is true.
Or before we even open our mouths. So think about this now. Presence preceding us. Just the presence, oftentimes without even speaking a word, okay, can command an atmosphere. And I'm going to go back to my opening point when I mentioned that oftentimes individuals, and I'll go back to your comment with men being somewhat distracted, okay? You have to think about it until you really take the time to really get to know us. And we're going to get to this, I hope, because I feel a certain kind of way about individuals that don't take the time to get to know me, to get to really see my fruit, if you will, okay? What generally happens? Fear. If I don't know you, and if I don't understand you, I'm gonna 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna try to stay away from you, right? So at some point in time, fear settles in. You're afraid of something. You don't know what it is about her, but it makes you uncomfortable in that room. So there's fear. And when fear kicks in, think about this. We generally fear that which we cannot control.
Right.
And if you can't control us, and if you can't stop us, you're going to do everything you can do to distract us. Why is that necessary?
Right.
Yeah,
Why is it necessary? Just
Right.
get to know and see that, was it Matthew 7:20? Thus you'll recognize them by their fruit.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll get to who versus what. That's really who we are.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I talked about the men, but there are also women that your presence as an alpha woman or a woman that has a reputation already of achievement. What is that? Why are there women that look at you all and instead of looking at you all as an inspiration, they look at you all in intimidation?
I think it's because real sisterhood and camaraderie isn't taught. And a lot of times we don't understand, and I don't want to I'm not going to get in trouble tonight. So I'm trying to be really wise.
Come on, let's go. Let's go, sis. Let's go.
Like,
You're going to play it safe.
there is somebody that has pit the women against each other. Oftentimes when it comes to, I just say me personally, anytime someone tells me, you know what, you want to stay away from JaNean because she's just whatever, I automatically know because of my maturity level that they see our connection as a threat. And I do the very opposite. I get to know her for myself. And so I think the more that sisterhood is seen, the more that support is seen. It doesn't take away from me to support JaNean and say she's a consultant also. You need to call on her because it's enough for everybody to win. And it goes back to society. Most times, we, especially in our community, we see alpha women fighting one another. We see them fighting for attention. We see them fighting to be right. You know what I'm saying? So because of a lot of those misconceptions and how it's been passed down, it's just hard. And so what I have learned to do is I go in and I assess any environment, be it that it's men there or that it's women there. Most times I know that the women that are there usually are there because they got an interest in the man. And so I have to let them know I'm not here for that. I'm here to work. Or they're intimidated because they know my work ethic. I'm not here to take your job. I'm here to teach you how to do your job better so that you can keep it. And when that doesn't work, I usually end up telling people, I was Tamil before this. And I don't need this or you to be Tamil. But what you can do is allow me to be the solution and let me do my job. Let me, gauge the surrounding. And you guys, that has never led me astray. That I can honestly say, in this particular season of my life, I am surrounded by amazing women that support each other. We support each other. And it's not just that surface stuff because we want to play nice. No, like genuinely have each other's back. Like if it's your week to win, we're all supporting you this week. And I think the more that we see that, because it's easy to tear down those walls with women. People don't think it is, but it's absolutely easy to tear those walls down with women when they're mature enough to have conversation, because it usually only takes one conversation. And you would get down to it, and then you can find out who the root is, who said what. Oh, you know what? Goes back to what JaNean said, that fear is there. And they knew that if we joined forces, we was going to be a force to reckon with. So let me plant seeds now.
Wow.
I think that's very powerful, and it's unfortunate, but it's very true. And it is true. Society, whether we want to accept it or not, there's so much force amongst women, unnecessary force, unnecessary strife. Okay, but I believe, and I've had to stop and take a step back, and for a long time going to a very quiet place, just to make sure the first temperature check I check is myself. Okay, I call it my G vibes. What G vibes am I giving off? Okay, and that's important, and that because I'm the common denominator in all of my relationships, right? I am the common denominator. And then I start to seek to surround myself. And this I call them files. And some of my friends they'll probably call me later and be like, did you really put us in files? Yes. Yes. Because what we have to understand is every season of our lives, everyone has not been ordained for that season of my life. And if I tell my friends, if I take all of my personal friends and then all of my professional constituents, and I put them together, I have one best friend. I have one perfect corporate constituent. And the reason being is because we have to understand and learn to respect each other for who we are first. I have to respect T-Mill. Forget about the agency, forget about all of her amazing accomplishments, because I need to see her heart. Is her heart pure and her hands clean? That's the type of person that you want in your space, that you want in your life. But if we keep wanting to connect, and I didn't say knit, there's a difference. If we want to keep connecting with people based on status, based on what I can get out of them, based on what they have to offer me, that's just a temporary relationship fix. And it will not sustain. It will not sustain the seasons when J.S. Taylor is soaring. It will not sustain the seasons when J.S. Taylor is challenged. We need consistency in relationships.
Absolutely.
Where is the heartfelt consistency that you're going to be there and I'm going to be there no matter what? I said, and I think you may have heard me say this before. This is just me personally. I live by two theories with relationships, okay? And for those that may be watching, this is not going to be a surprise when I say this. It is my responsibility to teach you how to treat me.
Absolutely.
If you treat me any kind of way because of my level of aggression, my level of progression, my pursuit for, and what motivates me is my accomplishments. And if that's the only reason why you really want to be around me or be associated with me, to say I'm connected with her or I know her, what happens when those seasons are a little dark and they're a little dark? Are you really going to be there, right? And then second, and this is my opinion, in true relationships, true friendships, okay? A friendship that hasn't been tested is a friendship that cannot be trusted.
Absolutely.
So we have to weather some storms together, up and down. I'm there for you, you there for me. And as also, I carry you in my belly as my friend, right? That means when you're hurting, I'm hurting. When you're rejoicing, I'm rejoicing right there with you. That's true sisterhood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I find in leadership as well that I get misunderstood as a leader, and I'm pretty sure as a leading woman, you get misunderstood. That some people will think that we are not interested in helping others. But people must realize when it comes to personally taking on, downloading your information into a person, because most of us lead where we're sharing our information with an organization, a company, a group of people, a church. But when it comes to personally mentoring a person, every leader, alpha male or alpha female, still has a heart. And we don't want to cast our pearls to swine. We want to cast our pearls. We want to give our knowledge to people we will still have a relationship with. To people that when we are in our low seasons, they're still connected and they may be in their high. That we actually get a return from what we give. And there are so many people that they don't realize the tone that you come. It smells like I'm just here for me. And so most alpha leaders, I'm gonna shut that down, because once you get what you've come to get, one, I'm not gonna know because you're so good at covering that up. but two, you're not gonna leave the right way. Mm-hmm. You won't even make it feel like the alpha person even helped you at all when they poured it. And when leaders after a while get onto that, they do become more guarded. And it doesn't mean that you should not approach, but it means you should approach mentorship and in any type of mentorship relationship with an understanding of, I've got to be bringing something to the table too, and loyalty will get me in the door. Faithfulness, consistency is what alpha women respond to, alpha men respond to. And I think a lot of people just don't get that. They'll walk off to, they just don't want to help nobody. No, we've helped enough of you. And we want to build something.
That piece that you're saying, it's really understanding the responsibility of the poor. It's not my job to chase you down to pour into you. It's for you to stay connected back to a biblical principle, right? Oprah was like, I want a man. I need somebody laying between my thighs. I love you, but I'm going home, right? We good. Ruth, you can stay if you want to, because by the time Naomi even find somebody and have somebody, I'm gonna be past what I'm trying to get. I'm going home. And a lot of people tend to move like that, like JaNean said, when the season is dark. But then what happens when you have that one that says, where you go, I go. And your God will be my God. And your people will be my people. And watch this.
Yes.
Because a lot of people look at the story of Ruth as being a love story. And it's really not. It's a story of redemption for Naomi.
Yeah.
How are you helping to redeem and to pour into the alphas who are moving heaven and hell to make sure that you're good, that are making sure that they pour even when we're exhausted?
Yeah.
People don't understand. Most times we're on E and you're still pulling, and we still have a job to do, and we still have. And that's why for alpha women, one of the best things that you can ever tell an alpha woman, man, I'm about to help you all, is you tell an alpha woman, I got you.
I got you.
That don't even mean financially.
No, just support. It goes back to the support. When you hear I got you, it means I understand you. The translation to I got you is I understand you. I'm meeting you where you are. And Timo, you said something. We pour and we pour and we pour to a fault, with all due respect, to a fault, okay? But if you ever notice that, how often is anyone taking the time to pick up the phone and say, how can I replenish you? What can I do? And let me just pause right here. Let me just put this in the atmosphere right now, okay? There are so many ways that we can sow seed, and it doesn't have to be financial. Let's make that very clear.
Right.
Sometimes
now you can't sow seed if you're not married. I'm gonna say yeah, so many ways.
You can't sow seed if you're not married. Is that what you
said? Yeah, don't sow seed if you're not married. People of God, Okay.
I think y'all understand. I hope they got it, but look at me.
I think we clear on what type of seed.
Yeah. I don't think it's a type of T-Mel. I'm not getting in trouble with you tonight, okay? I'm gonna stay on this side of the room.
Yeah, just say.
Because right now, because I'm not gonna leave my sister out there by herself. I got 1 foot on her side of the room and 1 foot on mine. I'm real close to coming on that same side with you. So you stay right there. I will not leave you because the word of God says iron sharpens iron.
There.
Okay, iron sharpens iron, and we pour, as I was saying, we pour. And I think people need to understand that we have a heart to give. It's a part of who we are. We didn't arrive here if we weren't givers. If we didn't seek opportunity to be a blessing to someone else, whether it's personal, whether it's corporate, it doesn't matter. Friends, family, coworkers, it doesn't matter. You said mentees. I have quite a few mentees, but I've gotten to the point now when someone comes to me and they say, I believe that you are my mentee, then God needs to tell me that. Because guess what? My oil isn't quite prepared to be spread against everybody. We have to be very selective. The one commodity we cannot get back is time. And your time is valuable to you. My time is valuable to me. So where I spend my time is a reflection of who I am.
Right.
It's a reflection of who I am. So if I'm spending time and sowing and I'm not reaping a harvest because I'm sowing on ground that is like stony and ain't fertile, then guess what? I should be wise enough with my gift of discernment to know that. But I think, Timo, you said it starts with just a conversation. A conversation. That's going to tell it all right there. Just an initial conversation.
Right. And for me, one of the things that and I want us to open our minds to not think of just as mentee as pouring down. Sometimes we kind of pour equal. But even when we do that, we want it to be a working relationship that will last throughout time. But you can really tell when someone is coming to get a download from you, but the moment they get in touch with someone that's at a higher level or have that they're gone. But you know someone's there to make a connection that when I was the highest connection you had, you were loyal, but now that you're connected to TD Jakes, you're still connected to me. That's the difference.
And that, you know what, something that you just said, I really want to highlight why us as alpha women rock. The relational aspect of us, we never connect to people based upon what they can do, and people know it.
Yeah.
Right? And because you can be BD with me, right? It's not Bishop-elect all the time. You don't have to perform to have an audience with me. You don't have to always be perfect to be around me. And watch this. You can even share those pieces of you that you feel unlovable, and it's safe. And it's covered. And so most alpha women offer us safety that is very attractive, even on a platonic level, because we're not concerned about your titles, we're not concerned about your positions, and even in your darkness, we're willing to walk into that dark place with you and sit if we have to, pull you out, figure out something, like we're willing to be that. And oftentimes that doesn't come back around, which is why most alpha women are considered loners.
Right.
Because who encourages the encourager? Who pushes the pusher? Who cheers for the cheerleader?
Yes.
Right. And that's, go ahead, JaNean.
I want to just add a little bit of commentary to what Timo just stated. We are not threatened by your title. We're not threatened by your accomplishments. Okay. We're not threatened by your connections. And let me make this very clear why. It is not because we're cocky. It's not because we're arrogant. Let me make this very clear. The alpha woman in her psyche, in her mind, in her fiber of who she is, believes that anything her hands touch is going to manifest. So therefore, anything that we seek to achieve is limitless.
Yep.
So that's why we're not threatened by a title. I'm not threatened by how many letters you have behind your name. I'm not threatened by how many degrees you have on your wall. That's your walk.
Your walk. I love
That's
that.
your walk. Okay. And my walk is my walk. But Timo, you said this earlier. But if you take your 7 degrees, wonderful. Okay. And then if, I always say knowledge without execution is absolutely just knowledge. Okay. Show me your fruit. Show me how you're executing. When you come together and when you really understand how alpha women can complement where you are, we can complement each other where we are and where we're going together. It is unstoppable.
Absolutely.
Powerful. I mean, powerful in our own right. But we have to get to this place where we're not threatened. And it's interesting because I wasn't going to bring that word up, but Timo, thank you for opening that door. We're not threatened. And we are, Timo, I'm going to get in trouble with you now. Don't cross us, but we're not threatened.
We're not. Yeah.
We're not. We just want to be a part. And if you're at A and I'm at A, how can we get to B together?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see it. You guys have literally been tearing down the negative stigma and redefining alpha women on just the quality of an alpha woman. We redefine that an alpha woman is someone who can be trusted with your light and your darkness. An alpha woman, she knows that anything she touches is going to be successful. An alpha woman is not threatened by you. Thus shouldn't be seen as a threat if you have a healthy concept. There is one thing, and I know we've been touching our segments, just flowing into them, but that I got you. That's one of the things that when I listened to T Mills live, that I realized I have to do a better job because I have 2 alpha males that have walked with me through my pastoring journey that are still walking with me now. That's Tara Farley and Julia Cunningham. And I can honestly say everything you're saying about alpha women is true because of these 2. That's absolutely the truth. They've been through my season of light, through my season of darkness, and I've been able to trust them with my weaknesses. That's one thing about an alpha woman, that you can trust her with your weaknesses and she will use her strength to supplement your weakness so that no one even detects that's what you're weak in.
And watch this, even when she's mad at you, she's not going to use that weakness against you.
No,
absolutely not.
And the part about it, she'll never hold it against you. And guess what? You'll never hear about it again.
Now, see, that's an alpha woman. But a trifling woman, now you're going to hear about it again.
You're going to hear about it every time something happens. They going to say,
oh, yeah.
You remember our very first day and you ate all of my french fries?
No, wait a minute. And I had to pay for the very first day. What?
And I had to pay for the very first day. Like, when it comes to alpha women and loyalty, I can
loyalty, yes.
Every alpha woman that I know, we are loyal to the point of, even when we disconnect, what we know stays with us. We will absolutely.
Our grave conversations. That's our grave conversations. They go.
We will cover you. And we're woman enough and secure enough to pull you to the side and say, okay, BD, you need to pull up.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because alpha women usually are more concerned about a person's future than they are their present.
Their current.
And so people, like with me, they have to get adjusted to that, right? I don't care about your now. I care about where you're going. So when I tell somebody, I text somebody and I say pull up or delete that or reword that. I don't care about now. I don't care about your emotional state. There goes that high
Right.
level of emotional intelligence. I don't care about you being reactive. I care about what's on the other side of this. I care about the
Yes.
consequences. I care about the new opportunities and the doors. Because more people will know you than just your zip code. And those few friends
Yes.
that you have on social media who will absolutely hype you up. Meanwhile, they're walking through the doors that you just closed.
But
And so our
why is that,
women know how to
Mel?
push you
Yes.
into your next.
Yes, but
Absolutely.
why is that? Why is that? That is so profound. The reason being is because alpha women, we're visionary. So we don't just look at where we are today and we look at individuals that friends, family we're partnering with. We see who you are becoming.
Mm-hmm.
So the seeds that we're sowing is not for where you are today, it's for where you're going. So that
Right.
pull up conversation, and keep in mind, the individual that we may be having a conversation with may not see what we see.
Right.
Okay, and maybe just it hasn't been made clear to them right now. But because we are so, oh God, because we are so trustworthy,
Yeah.
God can trust us to show us things that He may not be able to trust someone else because maybe they're not ready to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So what does
Yeah.
He do? He'll use us to help guide them to get there.
Right.
So always remember that when you have to have that pull up conversation, right? We're not here to chastise you. Who are we? We're not here to judge you. Who are we?
Right.
We just want to help
Right.
make that crooked path straight so as you go along the path, it's a little easier for you to
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
get to where you're going. That's the pull up conversation because we've been trusted with a vision that maybe you can't quite see yet.
Absolutely. Latasha Howard shared, she said, we are pushers. We will push, pull, drag you, keeping in mind where you are going. And we protect it with all we have. That's
And you know what's so funny
To a
about that,
fault,
Latasha?
almost to a fault.
almost to a
Almost to
fault.
a fault, which is why I
Honestly,
told you
almost
the
to a
thing
fault.
that I've
Yes.
had to learn is that I can't drag a person. I can push you. If need be, I can even hold the umbrella for you while it's storming because you done got a little something, right? But this is that thing that kind of gets us. We have to learn that we may be a answer, but God is not calling us to be the answer, right? We have to mature enough that just because we are passionate about somebody doesn't mean they're our assignment. And we
Right.
have to get to that point of establishing healthy boundaries, even for ourselves, because if we don't, we will end up spent because we're pushing and we're pulling and we're dragging. And watch this, sometimes we're enabling those
Absolutely.
behaviors and those
Absolutely.
bad choices because we do see where you're going and I want to help you get there and I want to that's why sometimes even from a relational standpoint people will look and they'll go um okay what what's happening here, what are you doing, why is it, and we will see potential and
Right.
begin to invest in the potential of a person or the potential of a man and stick around after we
Right.
see the red flags and that because we saw the potential. And something that I had to realize even in that, God never called us to love projects. And what I mean by that is there are some people in our lives, it is our job to build them up, but it's not our job to enjoy what we build.
Wow.
And you gotta be okay with that. We're not called to love our projects. We can love the
Right.
accomplishment of it.
Right.
But what if your job is just to build them up for someone else? What if your job is to help build that business for someone else, to help make sure that artist release that music for? We alpha women have to learn when to pour, how much to pour, and even when to stop pouring.
That is so good. Say that one more time.
We have to learn when to pour, how much to pour,
Mm-hmm.
but we also have to learn when to stop pouring.
Wow.
And when it's time to be replenished. We have to
Yes.
recognize when it's time to be replenished. I've heard the word relational quite a few times. Relationship, relational, throughout our conversation tonight. And I think it's time that we understand the difference between a transaction and a relationship.
Woo. That's
we
good.
need to, we need to pause for a second, because Emil, you help open that door for me, because everyone is not your assignment. Okay, so
Right.
and remember, remember earlier I made the comment, the difference between being connected and being knitted.
Yeah.
When you are knitted, that's your assignment. No matter how many times you feel like, I just want to pull away, I'm drained, it's something that keeps drawing you back.
Yeah.
Because you know that, you know what, I have the oil for the next level for this person, or this season, if you will. Okay, and recognize when that assignment is over, it's over.
Right.
You know, I've taken you as far as I can take you. I can't cross you over.
Right. Right.
But I'll tell you, in my industry, one of the greatest compliments that I could ever receive is to see the fruit of my labor, the fruit of everything I poured into a client, and to see that client excel and accomplish their goals. I could be sitting in South Carolina as I am tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and that client is soaring and excelling, and seeing the manifestation and the fruit of guidance and consultations, and I can see it. I am in my world.
Absolutely.
Guess what? I don't have to be there. You don't have to put my name in spotlights. You don't have to tell anybody what we did together. Just pay it forward. Take all that knowledge you receive and help someone else. That's all about, that's relationship. Don't become a transaction. Don't
Right.
become a one-off.
Oh, that's
Right.
good.
That's very good.
Do
And
not
I
become.
think some people don't realize that for alpha women, it is not the control that is the thing for them. It's the contribution.
Yes.
It's the
That's
fact
it.
of being able to pour in what I have and seeing,
Yes.
like you said, seeing that succeed, knowing I was there. I was able to pour in something. And that's what it's all about. That's what cooperation is. That's
Yes.
actually the formula for evolution. Evolution does not require cooperation. It does not require competition. It requires cooperation. The earth does
That's
not
good.
evolve. Humanity does not evolve through competition. We evolve through cooperation. And
Yes.
that means being able to contribute your part to another whole. And you said something about replenishing, knowing when to shut off, but also knowing when to be replenished. And that's one of the things that I got out of, and why we're here tonight, that I got out of that live with T-Mill. I realized I've got to check on her. You understand? I've got to check on her, JaNean. I cannot just see them as these alpha women that's got it going. They good. They're fine. There's also, in whether it be in church, in the boardroom, at work, wherever, if the both of us walk in a room, you will have to deal with things that I may not. And many times with alpha women, we don't check on her, even though she's accomplished. We think you're okay because of your accomplishments, but we also don't consider the darts, the hurt and pain to your womanhood, to your person that
Yes.
happened because of sexism. That we have to, one of the ways in replenishing an alpha woman is just checking on her, making her feel like she's actually human and not a machine.
Watch this. Actually seeing us. Not just like you said, the contribution or whatever. And this has been my conversation. Someone had posted on Facebook, and they said, "Black women, do you feel safe with black men?" And I said, in general, no. And here's why. I will go to war for you. I'm on the front line fighting your battle, possibly even doing some things that you never asked for that you're not going to do for yourself. And then when it's my time, you will sit back and watch the sport. And what I mean by that is you will see that there's friction. You'll see that there's controversy. You'll see that there's a challenge there. And you will sit back and go, oh, I know she's going to get them. And you'll watch the sport of how we maneuver and conduct instead of stepping in and going, bruh, you need to bring that down. You need to pipe that down. You need to respect her. And that's extremely draining because we are human. We have emotions, even if we are very aware and very mature and very intellectual with our emotions, we still have emotions. And so that I got you.
Yeah.
Like it feels good to know that even from a leadership standpoint, I am covered by a pastor who covers the totality of Tamil. There's not a piece of me, be it sacred or secular, ministry or marketplace, that feels like I'm uncovered.
That's one.
Like my leader, I don't have to perform to be in his presence. I don't have to operate. I ain't got to prophesy. I ain't got to preach. I ain't got to pray.
Right.
I literally can just call and say, I need you. And because it's me, he's like that. And he's also my brother. So God has blessed me with amazing brothers who are, I call them my chief cornerstones. Like literally, they are my chief cornerstones in the earth realm that they know and they feel me. And I'm able to be vulnerable because a lot of times alpha women can't be vulnerable. One, because people don't believe that we are. One of the worst things is me say, JaNean, I need you to pray for me. And JaNean turns around and say, oh, girl, you Tamil, you got this.
We're going to cancel JaNean.
Who can we be vulnerable with that's not going to then use our vulnerability as a weakness or as a point against us? And so alpha women need to be protected in the sense of when I'm feeling unsafe, I know that there's somebody that I can call on, I can go to, and all they have to do is say, I got you, which means I see you. You're not insensitive, because sometimes what happens is men can be a little insensitive of what's your plight, right? So alpha women, at that point, we need other alpha women. We need that sisterhood. A man wouldn't understand me saying, you know, just this year, the struggle, if I can be transparent, the struggle that I had internally, that for this milestone birthday, I have not been a biological mother. It was something that was playing in me mentally because that was like on my bucket list, right? And God knows I love him to death. He said, but I mean, just look at your accomplishments. And it was like immediately dismissed what I was feeling. And I was like, hey, I'll call you back. And I had to get off the phone because I felt myself getting ready to spiral. And one of my girls felt me and called. I didn't even have to say what it was. We are so connected that she said, I know right now you're probably dealing with some things mentally because you haven't been a biological mother by now. However, look at it. And so she was able to speak in a way that a man couldn't. And this is why sisterhood.
And that carries you in her belly.
Yep.
That's the example of a friend. You don't have to be in each other's presence to sense or discern what you're feeling. And now, like you, I am blessed. I am blessed. Some of the amazing relationships, pastoral relationships. My big brothers in the ministry, one is having this conversation with us. It's a wonderful feeling just to get a text out of nowhere. Hey sis, just thinking about you. Hey sis, how are you and Mike doing? You know, give me a call. Just want to hear your voice. Okay. No rhyme, no reason, no motive.
Right.
Okay, let me say it again. No motive.
Right.
Don't have a question about how to get here, how to get there with my finances. Just want to. The word that resonates with me right now is just being genuine.
Right.
Just being genuine. And my pastor, I mean, and I feel like I have so many. I'm so blessed because of I mean, I've never viewed my relationships or myself as a transaction. I don't just go away that easy. Some of them I do want to run from, but I
That's good.
can't. I don't. I've never viewed myself. If God sends you or me together, and it's ordained and it's meant to be, this is a relationship. Now, every relationship has its own definition, right? But it's a beautiful feeling as an alpha woman just to know that I'm on somebody's mind.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is. And then don't make sure I say this the right way. I'm trying to keep one foot in Tamil's
Say it.
box,
You know I got
but
your back. Say it.
Go
I
ahead.
got
Go
you.
ahead. Go ahead.
and one foot in mine. Let me just say this. We are not needy, but we
Wow.
do have needs.
Right.
That's so good.
Right.
Yes.
Let me say it again. Now, somebody need to understand this. I just had to say it. We look at alpha women and they think, oh, they got it all together. They don't need nothing. They don't need anybody. They're so strong. They're independent. She's good. I moved from Maryland to South Carolina. Okay. On a faith walk, my husband and I. Faith. And I literally had to start to look in the mirror and say, if you make another call to that chick, and you used to talk to her every other day, and she hasn't even reached out and called you and say, hey, Jay, how are you feeling?
Right.
Alpha women have needs. I'm not needy. I'm too progressive. I'm too ambitious to put myself in a position where I'm needy. But there are things that we need that we cannot provide for ourselves.
That
Right.
part. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Think about that for a second.
And compared to what you do
Yeah.
and what you need, just to what you're asking for, it's really not that much. It
It's
really is not that
not.
much. And there's a difference, and I hope somebody will get this, especially men. There's a difference in checking on their performance and productivity and checking on the person. Many
It's a
people think,
huge difference.
how's
You can
business going? How's this going?
measure productivity, but you
Right.
can't measure emotions. Understand that.
Absolutely.
You can look and you can say, okay, she's an author, she's a financial planning strategist, she's a business owner. You can look and say, okay, she got a third book coming out, she's moving, she's progressive. But are you stopping and saying to yourself or asking yourself, everything she's pouring out, the time, the energy, the effort, the research to accomplish these goals, she needs just a pause. Let me
Right.
just let her know I'm thinking about her.
Right.
Are you taking
Right.
hey T Mill, you know what? You are on fire. Are you taking time out for yourself to breathe? Are you taking time out to
And
pamper
watch this.
yourself?
And when you check on us,
Yes.
don't go from, hey, I'm just checking on you. And, the reply will usually be, I appreciate it. That's so amazing. To the very next thing. So I need XYZ. No, you wasn't checking on me. You was checking to see if I was available for what you needed.
It was a
There is
motive.
difference, right? There is a huge difference. And so a lot of times when we become kind of short or curt, as if we want to be correct with people, it is because your intention isn't pure. And the reason why we know it is because our intentions are pure. Like there are people in my life, especially men, that I forewarned them. I'm that chick that's going to check on you. I'm not trying to control you. You ain't got to tell me where you are or nothing like that. BD, you know this. I want to know how you're doing. And then if I'm led, I'm that chick that will absolutely text you an affirmation. I believe in you. I support you. You are valuable. You are needed. You are necessary.
Right.
I'm not trying to get nothing out of you.
Right.
I just feel in that moment that that's what you need. It's very rare though that alpha women get that back, where it's
Right.
not I need you for this attached to it.
Absolutely. And
And so
that's
when
one of
we
the
get to
main
the point that
reasons
you stop
why I wanted
responding,
this to happen tonight. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
That's
one of the main
you
reasons.
stop responding, it is
mm-hmm.
because your track record shows that when you go, hey JaNean, I was just checking you. Your track record has already told me that you're
Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank, T-Mill. I'm gonna. You automatically know what's coming next, but I want to throw this out there for a second, Pastor Lamar.
Okay.
You tell me what you think about this, and this will let me know if you'll invite me back again. Okay. I think about, I was an alpha woman prior to accepting my calling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of people actually believe that, and I'm going to talk about me personally for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think they were hoping this would happen, that this alpha woman, and now she's accepting this calling to preach the gospel, okay? Great Commission. I think she's going to become passive now. And for, I think a lot, I'm not a passive preacher of this alpha, powerful woman that's still a powerful vessel for the kingdom. I just got more power.
The only reason why I didn't stand up because you're preaching is because I have my Zoom look, which means I just got on my board.
The bottom is Come on, T-Mo. Come on, help me out with this one. You're passive alpha woman. You were alpha woman prior to accepting your calling. Most people like, oh yeah, gosh, she accepted the calling. Now she's going to become passive, and only to find, surprise, she's this alpha.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why?
Yes.
Here's why. It is the sexist. The church is one of the most sexist places, especially the Black church, that we still define submission as weakness. Mm-hmm. When the truth is, submission, if you look at a beach house, it is what is up under that house that causes that house to be. Submission is a support, it is strength, it is a pillar. But there is still sexism in the fact that if you're going to be a woman of God, you've got to be. Listen, absolutely. And that's what that is all about. That if you're going to be a good Christian woman, you've got to be a weak one, a passive one. And that is the tone of what is put out in, you know, how there's not now called Christian nationalists. Well, there's Christian, there's Christian sexists. That's how it ministry for you all is presented. And it's sad. Absolutely sad.
It is. And it's very unfortunate.
And then you get to the point where you have to deal with that. Because I've never even understood that whole, we have to lose our femininity to preach the gospel. I could be a pretty preacher and not preach pretty. And still be a woman. I don't jack my slacks in the pulpit. I am still a woman. I am still the sensual, submissive creature who has now submitted who she is to fulfilling the assignment so that the anointing for this assignment can run. And usually when we're done, especially alpha women, we cut off. Like, people don't understand.
We're done.
It's usually lights, camera, action. Be it in the pulpit, be it in a boardroom, be it in a Zoom session, whatever, from a presentation standpoint. A real alpha woman is lights, camera, action.
That's it.
And when we're done, we're done. We're ready to fall back to the background again. We're ready to allow you to lead. And not that we ever stopped letting you lead. We're just doing our part. Like, it was so funny. I just did a radio interview with Derek Triplett. And one of the interview questions was, what woman in the Bible do you relate to the most? And my pastor, being who he is with his antagonizing self, Mr. Jason Nelson goes, JL, because you'll drive a stake through somebody's head. Wait a minute.
What?
But then it was so crazy because I called Dr. Jonathan Pack and I told him what Bishop said. He said, but let me help you. Don't be offended by that, because JL was a team player.
Team player.
That she knew that wasn't her win, but she knew what she had to do in order for her team to win. He said to me, that's you 100%. you are a team player. Most alpha women, even if we have the leadership tendency, if we have the leadership foresight, the hindsight, the revelation, knowledge, the wisdom, we are team players.
But that's because we recognize that we build an amazing team around us to make us look even better. That I know, and I could say this, I know where I stay in my lane. I know where my gifts and my talents are, and where I fall short, I build and have continued to build an amazing team around me that make me look really good. And I think that's the difference with an alpha woman. We are very in touch and in tune with who we are. And that's critical. I want you said something, T-Mel. I want to Pastor Lamar, if this is okay. I want to I think this is important. It's you mentioned it earlier in terms of being able to be led. Okay, we are leaders.
Right.
Okay. And you can't twist that any other way. That alpha women are leaders. Okay.
Yeah.
But we do also know how to follow.
Absolutely.
And then also I heard the word femininity. So I want to touch on that for just a second, because I think it's extremely important that we understand that this misconception of alpha women in marriages.
Yeah.
Okay. Alpha women, we have the tendency to think that because we're leaders and we're running our own enterprises or building our own enterprise, okay, that we don't understand the difference. And let me just share just for a moment on this, because I think this is so important. And I hope that it's going to release some strongholds in a lot of marriages and a lot of relationships tonight. Okay. I tell everybody, I blame being an alpha woman on my mother and my grandmother. They were alpha women. My aunts and all my aunts are alpha women as well. And I won't apologize for it. As I started off, I'm unapologetic for who I am. But I think what is most important is that when an alpha female gets married, okay, she becomes innately an alpha wife. And it's learned. Let me finish here. And then ultimately an alpha mom. And I have 3 sons, and all of them are alpha males. Help me, Lord. But when you think about it, the problem is, and I'm going to put this out there, T-Mel, I'm coming back over on your side, okay? I'm going to emphasize the word, so you have my back?
I got you. I'm ready.
A real man do not want a wife for a boss.
Wow.
Let me help you out with this. This type of relationship, okay, is just temporary. It's temporal. And I promise you, and I'm being very transparent, I promise you, eventually it's going to yield a very heavy price. So in the spirit of transparency, I love my husband. Absolutely. And yeah, I desire a healthy marriage. And I knew that when I got married, Michael was an alpha male. And alpha males, I would always say, go Team Taylor, right? You heard me say that, go Team Taylor.
Yeah.
I had to learn, T-Mill, where to channel my energy in the right direction. And I'm going to go right back to your word with being feminine. Every relationship, okay, needs a masculine and a feminine energy to thrive. And the only way they're going to coexist together is to have masculine and have feminine. I'm going to go to, you all remember the movie 300? If you remember sports, you got to remember 300.
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Let's go. Let me go there for just a second, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. Think about this. If you are familiar with the Spartans, the movie 300, okay, I believe this movie is by far the best depiction of an alpha queen and an alpha king who respected the authority and the power within each other. Think about this. Go to the scene so much that before the king stepped into his place as a protector, knowing that his actions, and you all have seen this movie, knowing that his actions was going to jeopardize his family and his followers, right? What did he do, T-Mill? He trusted his wife. He turned back, looked at her, and she nodded her head.
Yes,
She
ma'am.
Yeah.
I mean, as I was thinking about this and listening to T-Mill saying masculine, this femininity, I'm saying to myself, he trusted her enough that he waited for her nod as a signal to move forward. And it's like, do what you got to do. I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you and I got this.
I got this. I got this. I understand you. And
Yes.
that's the best example of what I see as like this matching energy. So
Yes.
this masculine energy that we look for as alpha women is the protector, the provider, and the priest.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Feminine energy.
Yeah.
Our feminine energy, think about it. It's our nurture. We're nurturing. We're verbalized. I start off by saying we have this high emotional IQ, this high EI, emotional intelligence. Okay, so that's fine. And I think it's pretty funny, but I tell everybody,
Yeah. You
I'm
hit
not.
right on the head.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm really not an alpha wife. However, when my husband look at me and he knows that I need that alpha woman to come out of you right now, all he has to do is nod his head.
All it takes is
And I
all it takes is a look. And even with what you said, JaNean, I think for a single alpha women, a lot of times that whole control thing, men tend to think that we're challenging them and we don't relinquish control or different things like that. And I really want to help the singles in saying most alpha women, whether they were born or they were forged, at some point they called for help, they asked for help, they were very vulnerable, they were extreme, ego aside, because a lot of times they say it's because of your ego that you don't ask for help. And they've asked before and help never showed up. And so now to ask me to relinquish my ability to get done what I know I can get done and I can trust me to do it, it takes action. Not just you saying I got you.
Right.
But we have to see it. And so sometimes the response has nothing to do with control as much as it is the fear of being disappointed again. And a real man is man enough to see that and go, okay, let
Yeah.
me show you that I
Yeah.
can maneuver this.
Absolutely.
Watch this. Let me
Yes.
show you that I can lead you. And alpha
Absolutely.
women have
Yes.
no issue submitting and being led.
I think that's one of the best points about being an alpha woman for people to make sure they understand. Most alpha women completely understand the need for feminine and masculine energy, the X and the Y chromosome. You can't create life without both of these chromosomes, and you need that energy. But when someone is self sufficient, even though they need people for a part of themselves, if we continue as men to not show up for you, it creates a distrust and it expands your territory of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm not going to show up for you, the leader, the alpha leader in me, is not going to leave this territory uncovered. I'll do it for myself. But there are
Yes.
men that will think you're doing it because you just love to do. Sometimes we don't get it. No, you're doing it because you're not following through. I'm doing this because it's got to be done. And
I'm doing this
most
because I gotta survive.
relationships, yeah,
Yeah.
and most relationships with alpha women and or men or alpha men with alpha women end because an alpha woman can only function a certain amount of time on a deficit. And after a
Oof.
while, it doesn't make sense to hold on to an investment that's never going to bring a return. And so there are many times, when people are like, she thinks she better than me. Nah, bro, you've been not showing up for 10 years, homie. you, know,
Right.
she can do bad all by herself. But it is also one of the things I want to say, and I know we've got to wrap up shortly. One, an alpha woman is not just a businesswoman. She can be a mother, she can be a wife, a homemaker, and still be an alpha woman.
Mm-hmm.
Two, as far as what alpha women need, what women need, period. Men, we have not been on the front line for their issues personally or in society. If Black men are being killed by the police, women are on the front line marching for us. They
Mm-hmm.
are the ones even putting the rallies together. But we literally in this country missed an entire Me Too movement that exposed that women were being mishandled, they were being mistreated, and women marched for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Men were not on the front line with women and their issues. And as far as in society, as far as in the family, as far as in the church, God is requiring for men to get on the front line with issues concerning women. Because without doing that, we are prejudiced. We show favoritism, and the scripture says God does not like partiality. So we cannot devote a commitment to a male energy and male cause, and males don't devote a commitment to female causes. These are our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, and we've got to get on the front line with women issues. Women should not have to make legislation for their own issues. Men should be making that legislation for women issues. You know, the fact that women are still fighting to get paid the same. And no men who actually pay women are in front of these issues. But yet your business would be nothing without them. Your households would be nothing without women. And we are on the back end of issues we should be on the front end of. If you're going to be an alpha male, you should use your alpha male power to uphold and protect all women.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get no amens.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Oh, they
got
telling
to
you that's
switch
good.
this
They
thing
telling you to
here.
teach pastor.
We've got to switch this thing here. I
Mm-hmm.
said it last week and I'll share it again. When I said with my bishop, we were planning our convocation. And he said, we're going to have 3-4 days. And he said, we got to have one female speaker. And I said to Bishop, I said, Bishop, and I respect my bishop, please know that, but I know his heart. And I said, Bishop, I think the White House has advanced before the church, that there's a Black woman in leadership in the White House, and the church is still behind on this. And I said, is it possible that maybe the male voice should be the minority voice from the convocation? And we should have all women and one man? I think we just got to get out. And my bishop was like, absolutely. I'm totally down with that. We've got to do what we can to reverse this, women being the majority of the church specifically, but the minority of the leadership in power. That's got to cut out. And those are one of the ways that men can get ahead and get a front and get on in front of women's issue. I'm sorry to go off, but I'm passionate about this. Women are amazing. Whether you're an alpha or omega woman, you're awesome. You know, and so we have to be there for you. I cannot thank you all enough for taking this time and sharing with us. I just want to release you all to share something, a word of encouragement as we close out. That what is something that you would say to encourage an alpha woman or a woman that is forging into being an alpha woman right now before we leave? Who wants to go first?
I can. I would just say, whatever you do, don't lose yourself.
Say it one more time.
Whatever you do, don't lose yourself. Don't pour so much into everybody else that you lose your dreams. Don't support everyone else to the point that you doubt what you can accomplish for yourself. Don't push forward so much that you don't enjoy life because of how you've said it. Do not lose yourself. And if you hold on to you the same way that you hold on to everybody else, that balance or that harmony that you need, it'll be so much easier to get back to it because you did not lose yourself.
I would say just a couple thoughts that come to mind as I'm reflecting on this conversation tonight. And I'm hoping that this conversation has released some strongholds with some alpha women and men tonight. I really do. I would say to the alpha woman, and you may be, I think there's different stages of being an alpha woman. Okay. You may be in the molding and making stage of being an alpha woman, and you may be just starting to feel that transition to take place. The word of God says, fear not. Okay. Don't be afraid of her. Don't abhor her, and do not defer her. If it's her season to rise up, let her rise up. You'll be protected. But what I will encourage you to do as you're being molded, okay, because T. Mill and I, we weren't always where we are today. Let's make that very clear, okay? Some by choice and some by force. We are where we are today. But what we've had to do is learn to live in the moment, live and embrace the moment, okay? But most important, as you're molding and you're growing and you're starting to see this dynamic force, this incredibly influential and ambitious woman growing right in front of you, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you compliment yourself, okay? And surround yourself with family and friends who are confident in who they are first, okay? Because a lot of people can't handle change, let alone change within themselves, change in someone else. Whereas these individuals that you are around, and be selective, we can encourage each other. We can compliment each other. First thing we got on this call earlier, and I said, Tima, you look so beautiful. What did that cost me to tell the truth?
Right.
It cost me absolutely nothing to tell the truth and compliment another sister. Okay, that sidebar conversation. You want somebody that's gonna pull you aside and say, let's have a conversation. Correction is required. Okay. Right. And you want someone that genuinely cares enough about not where you are, but where you're going. And that may sound like a lot, but it's really not hard to capture if you just focus on what you're looking for now. Focus on where you're going. And the word I'll leave you with, in everything you do as an alpha woman, be intentional. Because if you're intentional, you don't have to be apologetic for it. That's what I'll leave you with tonight.
That's so good.
That's powerful. Listen, I cannot thank you two enough. You two are my sisters. I just love you and appreciate you so much. And on so many ends, you've been such a blessing to me. And it's just my goal. I've heard things tonight where I'm reminded of how I can do better at supporting and being there for the great women that God has placed in my life. And you said something so profound. You said, don't fear her, don't abort her, don't defer her. And tonight, I would like to remind her that she has no reason to fear. She's got too much purpose to abort. And you've come too far. So hold her back now. Let her loose. Let her loose. We have need of you. And I decree and declare that the needs that you have will begin to be met. That those that are in your life will be sensitive to you. That God will raise up those that will keep you covered in prayer, keep you covered in encouragement, those that will keep you covered into the attention and affection that you need for your person. And I believe that we're walking in a time where women are being pushed to the front line, that their person is intact and not just their performance and their productivity. but that people are actual. We're creating a society that protects and propels the person of a woman. We bind and come against every sexist policy, every sexist ideal, every sexist wage policy, every sexist hiring policy, every sexist leadership policy in the church, leadership policy in business, leadership policy, policies in government, and we decree and declare fairness.
Yes, God.
We decree and declare that we will build a society that reflects what Jesus Christ came to abolish. And he came to abolish sexism. We decree and declare that Black men will restore and uphold honor to Black women like never before, that we will actually become leaders in upholding and bestowing honor upon Black women and women in general. And Father, we just decree and declare, we thank you for relationships being formed. We thank you for confidence being formed. We thank you for tenacity and stamina being formed today, that we know that these amazing women have just cause for so many people to be encouraged on tonight. And I just pray that you bless them. You bless them above measure, that their businesses and their efforts are blessed above measure, that their household, their relationships, and their friendships flourish in the mighty name of Jesus. And Father, I pray that you fill them with the knowledge of your will, with all wisdom and spiritual understanding. Make them worthy of you, fully pleasing you, and constantly fruitful in every good work. Strengthen them with all might according to your excellent power. And Father, we forever give thanks to you for qualifying us all to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. And we just thank you that you are our Alpha and Omega. But you have caused for us all to move to the Alpha, for the last shall be first. And we thank you now for the shifting and the changing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's give the Lord some praise. Hallelujah. Glory be to God. Glory. Listen, we went a little further tonight, but this was worth it. You know, this won't be the first and only time. And so most definitely, I thank you all so much. It's just been a pleasure and an honor for me to be among such great women. And the fact that I pastored some of the most amazing women in the world, and that all the women of love and faith are just phenomenal. I love them dearly, and know that Pastor loves you. Bishop is behind you all the way. And I'm gonna be a pusher this year. I'm gonna aggravate you through all the way, so you can do what you got to do. Listen, Love and Faith and Front Porch family, it is Monday night, so we want to encourage you to give. You know, I'd love to be a blessing to these women. They haven't even asked for anything, but when honestly, they should have a whole rider, $1 million. That's what they deserve. But I would love to be a blessing to them tonight. And we know we have our responsibilities just as our church family. And so you can give by way of text give. That number is 850. I've been trying to remember this again. Okay, I got it. 850-424-1467. You got to know, listen, after a stroke, memory of small things is so hard. I'm trying to force myself to remember this number. 850-424-1467. Or you can give by way of Cash App, $ LFC Church. Then, of course, if you're a member, you could go to thelfcc.org and set up your membership profile. Everyone that can give a $25 seed tonight, we're asking you to do that. And if you're giving your tithe, do that as well. Thank you for your giving. Thank you for your consistency. This is a record-breaking year. If you weren't in church yesterday, you need to get that message, because it is time. It's time for us to go to Judah. It is the reign of the rebuilders, and we are going to rebuild the walls and the gates. God is giving us 52 days to do what no man can do. Sword in one hand and a hammer in the other. We're going to get this done. And so let's lift those offerings up as we bless your offering. Kind Father, it is at your discretion that men are made great. It is because of you that we have anything to give at all. And we ask you to bless us as you see fit, for you do all things well. Now, I do not bless the money, but I bless the giver. And I say to every giver, blessed are you by God our Father, creator of heaven and earth. And every giver respond by saying, it is so, and so it is. Now shout shalom. Shalom means every need is met. Thank you. Thank you. T-Mill and JaNean. Oh, I don't know if you could have seen the comments, but literally, you were such a blessing tonight. And thank you so much. We love you. Y'all are honorary members of Love and Faith. We in this for the long haul. In this for the long haul. And listen, I got you. I got you. All right. Do me a favor, men. This week, work on your I got you. And every woman in your life, check on her. Check on her. Minister to her. Remind her. All right. God bless you all tonight. I love you. Let's not forget, we got to do our monthly mark and get all this good stuff done. I'll see you all Thursday. We started a consecration Sunday for the next 2 months. Every Thursday, we're fasting from 5:30 until 7:30. I'm sorry, until 6:30. And then we have prayer at 5:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. So please make sure we clear our schedule. This is imperative that we do this fasting and praying in this hour. God bless you. I love you all. T-Mill, you want to introduce your child before you go? I thought y'all.
This is my nephew that just kept coming. I was like, I know people are looking down. Say hi. This is Jimmy Choo.
Jimmy Choo. And so they both had their dogs on earlier.
Chance? He may be with his father.
Okay, so and JaNean has Chance.
Yeah. He needs a bath, so he's looking a little scrubby right now.
Yo, Mike, what up, boy?
Oh, Lord, you saw me. Hey.
Say hello, Chance. This is Chance. His name is Chance because my husband said it was the last chance that I would have it having a dog because I would get dogs and then give them away. But I think he knows it because he's amazing.
Oh, so we've got Chance and Jimmy Choo. Awesome. Thank you all for being on with us tonight. I love you all so much. God bless you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Come on, let's sing this song of victory. Let's chant it all together. There's healing, peace, joy, deliverance, all in Jesus. Glory to God. Come on, let's say it again. Oh, there's healing, and there's peace, there's joy, and deliverance, all in Jesus. There's healing, there's peace, there's joy, deliverance, all in Jesus. Sometimes you got to do Jesus inventory. There's so much in him. Let's call it out. There's healing, there is peace, there is joy, and deliverance, all in Jesus. God. Look at somebody and say, he's everything. Oh, if you're sick in your body, confused in your mind, you're down in your spirit, and the devil has you bound, it's all in Jesus. I wish I had somebody in here tonight. I need to call this out again. I don't know who I'm talking to. If you're sick in your body, confused in your mind, down in your spirit, and the devil has you bound, you can find it all in Jesus. Can I get a witness in here? Can I get one witness in here? Hey, there is healing, peace, joy, deliverance in Jesus. I need somebody to get that in your spirit. Come on, let's get it in our spirits.